Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. They are really dragging it. Was it bad? Was it amazing? No. It was okay, and yeah. But before I get into my review, if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I summarize and review the latest Jaren Kapımı episodes, say what I like, what I didn't like, what I think might happen next. If you like these kinds of videos, like, comment, share, but most importantly, subscribe so we can meet on a weekly basis. As always, let's talk about the side storylines, which were the main focus in this episode, and then jump into the Aidan and Sarkhan storyline. So first we have Aidan, and we start to see that he's falling for Layla, because in this episode Layla was absent because she needed to take care of her mother or something. So Aidan had to be her part in the company as well, and it was just too much for him. So towards the end of the episode, he was begging her on the phone to come back, and even told Melek that he doesn't want to go back to the office because it reminds him of Layla and it's just so hard for him without her. So I do think that he's starting to fall for her, so we will see them together in the future. And even Melek was like, are you starting to fall for her? But then kind of backtracked. Then we have Aidan and Ifak. It was just a mess, like her being hormonal, misunderstanding the things that Aidan is saying, taking things personal, him trying to please her all the time. Yeah, that's basically all that happened with them. Then we have Jaren and Ferret. So Sarkhan wanted to give Celine a present for her birthday, so 5% shares of his shares. She declined it. She actually wanted to leave the company, and then he's like, no, you stay here for the meeting. So he tells her that he wanted to give it to her for her birthday. At first, like I said, she declined, but then when Ada said something, she accepted it. But she said, okay, I will accept the 5% shares, but you will manage them. So basically still giving Sarkhan the 5% shares back, but it's just a formality for her to have them. Anyways, Jaren knew about that all along, so Ada was really angry at Jaren. Why wouldn't she tell Ada, warn Ada about Sarkhan's death? I kind of understood Jaren, because she was like, why should I tell you everything? And I'm like, of course, yeah, why should Ada know about everything? And then when Jaren walks away, I thought Ada was such a hypocrite, and I didn't like her at all. Like in this episode, she was starting to overdo it once again. So getting angry, screaming around, being so, I don't know, annoying in my opinion. So when Jaren walked out, Ada told Melek, well, she needs to get herself together. If she doesn't do that, then our friendship is over. And I was like, oh my god, why aren't you questioning yourself? Hey, maybe she has a crisis, maybe she is in trouble, maybe there's something up with her. She's my friend, maybe even my best friend. Let me talk to her, find out what's wrong with her. Not be like, oh, if she doesn't do that like I said, then I will cancel our friendship. I was like, how old are you? Are we in kindergarten? Seriously. That annoyed me so much. So later in the episode, Dennis comes to the company. Jaren is also in the entrance area, and Dennis and Melek are talking. Melek is talking about Jaren's hair. Dennis is saying that he liked Jaren's old hair, so she goes to the hairstylist and gets her old hair back. Then goes to Dennis. She's begging him to try to have a relationship with her, and he was like, why are you insisting so much? So she tells him that she's in love with him, and then he's like, no, I don't see you as anything else but a friend. My heart doesn't skip a beat when I see you. I'm in love with Ada. And I was like, I knew that, but it was kind of harsh to tell her that way, because she was so desperate for him to accept her, to be with her, to try to have a relationship with her. So then she goes really sad to Sarkhan and asks him for help, even though he wanted to go to that special dinner, which I'm going to talk later about. And I do think that he called Ferret. So Jaren was on a bench outside, and Ferret came, and he was really confused. What is Jaren doing there? And she didn't say anything. She just hugged him, and you could really see that she really needed that hug, and Ferret was the only one by her side the whole time. And there was a moment where he brought her some coffee, and it was in the mug with the shoe design on, and I thought it was just so adorable. Like, Ferret, he deserves so much more. Please give him more screen time, because he is amazing. I really like him. Oh, and also when the 5% shares meeting happened, Ferret was also on on Aida's side, because Aida was like, well, at first you needed to consult with us, the rest of the partners in this company, before giving Celine the 5% shares. But Sarkhan said it's from his shares, so why does he need to talk with the other people about that? And anything else? Oh, he also warned Celine because she was losing it in this episode, and he warned her that history is repeating itself, but she didn't accept it and just marched off. And I do think that Ferret will be like, told you so. Then we have Aidan and Ifak. Their storyline, we can sum it up pretty quickly. So both of them are really scared that they killed Chef Alexander. They're scared that the police will find them. They come up with a plan to start a new life, to move away. Seifi finds out about their criminal activities, calls the police, but before he does that, the police is actually searching for Chef Alexander because he is missing for 48 hours. Aidan even had a nightmare where the police is taking her, and Sarkhan and Seifi are like, well, take her, no problem. Then her nightmare kind of turns into reality because the police really come and asks her about Chef Alexander. And when both of them are trying to escape and just run away, and Seifi calls the police stops their car, and that's basically it. Oh, and we also see Chef Alexander healthy and alive, flirting with a different woman. That's basically their storyline. So we can move on to the Aida and Sarkhan storyline. So we start right where we left off. Celine being shocked to see Sarkhan and Aida arm in arm sleeping together. She starts screaming, what the hell are you doing? Both of them are surprised, shocked, wake up. Celine is losing it, being really angry, and I mean, I kind of understand for her to play the victim, to keep up this persona, to keep up this I just caught my fiance with his ex-lover. Sarkhan kept telling her nothing happened. She starts fighting with Sarkhan. Dennis even questions Sarkhan. Sarkhan is like, nothing happened. And then Dennis is telling Aida that he had to question Sarkhan a little bit to keep up the game. Celine is really angry, not just because she found out that Sarkhan and Aida were close together, but also I think the major thing that hurt her was the fact that it all played out when it was her birthday. So the next day she goes to Dennis's shop or whatever, and before she goes there she checks her lipstick, and I do think that she starts to fancy him. And when he made her a coffee, she even said that it's different and she's starting to like it, and she looks at Dennis. So I do think that she was referring to him, so because he's different than all the other guys she dated or had a relationship with, but she's really starting to like him. So I do think that was kind of a hidden message from her to him. Then she kind of confesses or tells him that she was trying to play the victim because it's just their game, blah blah blah. Then we have this weird scene between Aida and Sarkhan when they were having this car race, and then Aida making fun of Sarkhan how slow he was, and he was like, well, don't you know the fairy tale of the turtle and the rabbit? Or something like that. And she's like, oh, do you think this is a fairy tale? He's like, no, in order for it to be a fairy tale you need children, like for children to listen to it, I believe. And then there is this back and forth, and she pulls him closer and he takes a whiff of her scent and he starts to like it. So you could really see that his body is starting to react to her scent, her in general, and him being so confused, like, because his mind doesn't remember her but his body does. So he's really confused. Then in the office he stares at Aida, and then they somehow end up talking about them being two adults who will marry a different person real soon. Then we see Celine packing up her things, being done with everything. Pugil is trying to stop her. Celine goes to Sarkhan with her letter of resignation, that's the word. Sarkhan is like, what is that? So she tells him. Aida is like, oh, it's accepted, because she wants Celine gone. But then Sarkhan is convincing Celine to stay a little bit longer because of the meeting where he will give her the 5% shares. Then we have Eda being really frustrated and talking to herself. Melek thinks that she's talking to herself about Jaren, trying to explain Jaren's situation, and Eda is like, oh, I don't care about her. I was talking about Sarkhan. And that's when Melek is telling her that Sarkhan, as soon as he heard that Eda was missing, he dropped everything and went looking for her, and that kind of softens her up a little bit more. But still, she was very annoying, like I said in this episode, really quick to be angry and frustrated. Then Sarkhan comes, wants to talk to Eda. Melek is trying the enişte thing with Sarkhan again, but he still doesn't react, so she's like, okay, you still need your time. And then Dennis comes. Oh, and there was also this moment, sorry, I forgot about that, where Dennis is with Eda in this break room, whatever they have, and Jaren is watching them. She gets really angry, kicks the trash can. Ferret sees that, wants to go after her. So once again, you see him caring about Jaren and her well-being. Sorry, I mixed a few things up. So before Dennis even arrived and started talking with Eda in the break room, Eda and Sarkhan had a conversation. Sarkhan was questioning Eda, like, why are you so mad or something like that, and then she's like, well, you think the whole world revolves around you and you only gave Celine the 5% because you felt bad of what happened that night in the hut. And I was like, girl, he just said a couple of minutes ago that he wanted to give her the 5% shares as a present for her birthday. So it seems to me that it was already pre-planned. So while they were gone, before he went searching for you, so this doesn't quite make sense to me, but yeah. And then she's telling him that she hates him, and he's like, no, your eyes tell me something different, it's love. And then she's telling him all the negative things, but then we hear her thoughts being like, oh, I don't even mean that, I would never let you go, I would never hate you, I love you so much. And then she tells him that she's in love with a different man, and he asks her if she's happy, and she says yes. And that's when Dennis comes, and he's like, well, your happiness just came. Then we see a mysterious person, just a hand, putting pictures of Celine and Dennis kissing into an envelope, sending it to Art Live. So I'm really interested to see who that person is, who could have taken those pictures. Then we have the scene where Sarkhan is looking at Eda's wedding invitation and asks Aidan where Eda is, because actually he wanted to ask Layla, but because she's not here, he has to ask Aidan. And it was just so funny when Aidan was getting closer and Sarkhan, don't get too close to me. And then he finds out about this flower shop, and Aidan tells him where it is. Then Engin comes in and wants Sarkhan to sign a few things, and Sarkhan is about to sign, and Engin is like, no, you don't sign without reading like what is happening. You've never done this. So it's kind of being back to the old new Sarkhan. So not the old Sarkhan, but the old Sarkhan pre-amnesia, kind of, where he trusted the people around him. And then Engin sees the wedding invitation and they start talking, and Sarkhan at first is denying that he thinks about Eda's wedding or Eda in general, and then he admits, yes, it's true, he can't get her out of his head. He keeps thinking about her and he doesn't like that she's marrying Dennis, kind of. So Engin is like, well, go after her, tell her you love her, pursue this love, pursue this relationship, or just marry Celine, like choose one. Then we have Celine asking Aidan where Sarkhan was going. He kind of tells her, so she follows him. Then we have the scene that we already saw as a trailer after last week's episode. They really dragged it out, like we saw a very short version of this scene, and in the episode him having this flashback where he confessed his feelings to Eda for the first time, where he told her that he can't get her out of his head when she was about to go to Italy. And then he goes to her, they talk a little bit, and they make those terrariums, and he kind of remembers what Ifak told him, that those plants are touching or something small. She's really shocked, like, how do you know that? And he's like, well, maybe some unnecessary information I picked up. And she gets really frustrated and angry with him that he actually made a terrarium with her aunt. It was for her, so she got really offended that he didn't remember it. And I was like, oh my god, Ada, why are you so difficult? Anyways, they're doing all those things. She's really close to him. He smells her scent once again. Celine is being a creep, watching them. Her calling Dennis to hurry up a little bit so he can break off Ada and Sarkhan's moment. So then she drives away. Dennis comes, breaks up the moment. Even Ada was really confused, like, what are you doing? Celine calls Sarkhan. Sarkhan is kind of deflecting and being like, well, I have stuff to do, I can't come, or something like that. And then she fakes being in an accident, so she drives into a lamppost or a tree or whatever. And she's like, oh my god, Sarkhan, I just had an accident. Oh, please come, blah, blah, blah. He rushes to her. Even Ada and Dennis are really concerned about it, and when they arrive she's like, oh, my hand hurts, oh my god, I don't know what happened. So Sarkhan is calling an ambulance. Ada is asking Celine if she needs anything, if she can help. So that was a nice moment of Ada, but Celine was like, I don't need any help from you. Then we see Celine being at Sarkhan's place, him kind of taking care of her, making her coffee, and he pours the coffee into the magic mug. So we see his black mug turning red, and he's really confused, like, what the hell is wrong with this mug? Like, I'm really confused. I have too many weird things in this house. Then the next day, Celine is at Dennis's shop, and when he enters, she's actually listening to the recording of Melek and Jaren talking that it's just a game for Ada and that she just wants to get Sarkhan back. He hears that, gets really angry, and deletes the recording. Then we have the scene where Celine is really happy, brings chocolate to Sarkhan and Ada was really confused. Then she's so frustrated, she talks to Jaren and Melek. Celine walks by them. She goes back to the office and is like, oh, it stinks in here. I don't like the smell of bad people. And then she's kind of fake calling Dennis, talking about their honeymoon. Oh, should we plan our honeymoon? Wait, let me talk to Sarkhan so we can match up our dates so somebody can be here at any time. And Sarkhan doesn't like it one bit what he's hearing. So he gets really angry, really frustrated, really jealous. Ada senses that and is even calling him out that when he blushes, he's jealous. And he gets even more frustrated that she knows this and that she kind of found out that he's jealous. Then Sarkhan is calling Jaren and Melek to come to him and help him prepare this special dinner for Ada and him. And Melek and Jaren are really excited to do that. Then we have this little moment between Ada and Ifak because Melek faked having a bad day, told Ada about it. Ada was like, okay, let's do something together. Melek is like, let's go to a restaurant. So kind of luring Ada to that restaurant. So when Ada sees Ifak being really sad because of Chef Alexander, she gets really sad because she feels for Ifak. So she also invites her to this dinner. But Melek is like, please Ifak, don't come. This is something special because Sarkhan is trying to have a moment with Ada, so please change your mind. So Ifak then changes her mind, tells Ada that she won't come, and Ada is really confused why she did that. The only thing that Ifak is telling Ada, please don't stop fighting for your love. And then she gets really emotional and Ada is really confused, but then is like, okay, I will just go with Melek. So when they arrive at the restaurant, and I do think that that restaurant was the same restaurant where Ferret from Dolunay had his surprise birthday party. Anyways, Ada is really hungry. Melek is trying to drag it out and be like, okay, I'm not that hungry right now, let's drink a little bit before that. So she messages Sarkhan that everything is ready, they're there. He wants to go. Somebody knocks at his door. It's Celine. She wants to go out with him. He's deflecting, being like, no, I do have some business to do, blah blah blah. So he sends her away. Then when he's about to go again, Jaren is knocking on his door asking for help because of the thing with Ferret. So that's when Sarkhan calls Ferret, I believe. Then we see Sarkhan arriving at the location and the creep Celine is watching. So Sarkhan just goes inside. Ada is really confused, like, what is he doing? Melek disappeared for whatever reason. I didn't see her. And then he just goes up to her and kisses her, and that's the end. And I was like, what? First of all, that kiss was as long as the kiss from the trailer, and I was so disappointed. Like, at least you could have added a couple of more seconds. And second, I don't really believe, like, I would want it to be real, but I do think that Sarkhan is just imagining it. That's just my theory. Anyways, that's the end, and thank God we got a real trailer. So we do see Ada and Sarkhan in a boxing ring, getting really close, boxing together. Ada wanting to end this whole game that she's playing. Dennis is kind of urging her to keep playing because he does have feelings for her. I do think that he's grabbing at every moment, just trying to have this feeling of being in a relationship with her, even though he knows that it's not real. Sarkhan being confused that he's falling for Ada. Then we also see Celine finding the pictures of her kissing Dennis. I do think that next episode we will see a lot of Ada and Sarkhan together. I'm really disappointed that Celine will be the one who finds the pictures and not Sarkhan. I do hope that we will find out who sent those pictures, but I do think that we won't, as always. We also didn't find out what was on the piece of paper that Ferret found in Jaren's house. We also didn't find out what really happened in Jaren's childhood or teen years. I don't know. I really hope that by this episode Sarkhan would finally regain his memory, but apparently not. I don't know. I mean, it is an okay story. It was an amazing story in the beginning. I loved it, but it's really starting to drag, and yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited for next episode. I really do hope that we will see more of Ada and Sarkhan. My battery is flashing, which tells me that I talked way too much. So yeah, I hope I didn't forget anything. I hope I mentioned everything. If I forgot anything, I'm really sorry. If you still like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this episode. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell to be notified whenever I post something, and I will see you next time. Bye!